And welcome back to Hero Power! Woo! I'm feeling good today, guys. Episode 28. As usual, I am joined by my co-hosts, Zeroshio.
What's up, everybody?
And Versika.
Hey, everybody.
And today we have a special guest. We are very excited to introduce, for the first time ever on a podcast, Dusharmo!
Hey guys.
What is up? We're glad to have you, man.
And I'm glad to be here. You guys are awesome.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background in Hearthstone?
Well, actually, I started playing in beta, and I played it for a while. And I don't know, for some reason, I got a little bored. I don't know why. Maybe I just didn't have the right amount of cards. So I stopped playing for a year, and then I came back, and just been playing ever since. I love it.
Good, awesome. Yeah, tell you what, it's one of those games. Do you have a background in any other collectible card games?
I used to play a little bit of Magic.
There you go. That seems to be the one thing that I find most Hearthstone players have in common. I know, me and Zeroshio and Versika all have backgrounds in Magic, the Gathering, and I even dabbled in Pokemon, though I didn't really ever get into it. But it's Hearthstone is one of those games where it scratches that card game itch, and you don't have to spend all the money on physical cards that you have to find somewhere to store. I saw that, Versika. Just
because that's our problem.
Is that
the biggest problem we have? Is where to store them.
Is that I believe that's a new Hero Power record, isn't it? What are we?
Disapproving head shake.
Disapproving head nod. 2 minutes in.
Apparently, I've not done one in a while. So.
Well, I noticed when you said Pokemon, his head shook, and I gotta let people know that I did teach Avantis to play Hearthstone, and I at one point was a Pokemon gym master. So, it's disproving head shake number 2. See, we're making records tonight.
I'm just old. That ages me because I was too old to play Pokemon when it came out. So
I was too.
That train.
Yeah. The only reason I became a gym master is our coffee shop wanted to host tournaments, so I became a gym master so we can make a little extra money.
There you go. All right, so before we jump into everything this evening, Versika, why don't you tell us a little bit about our partners over at ViForce?
Well, it's week 4, so if you've been paying attention and you've been listening to the episodes, by this point you missed the opportunity to use your hero power and get some off of a ViForce system. But I have good news for you. Next weekend, when we're hosting our big tournament here in Knoxville, we will have an Impulse, which is one of ViForce's machines. We'll have it set up at the tournament, and you'll get to come up and drive it and just see how great it is for yourself. So come out to the event, actually put fingers on a keyboard, fingers on a mouse, get to experience how it plays. I was fortunate enough to play on one during our last Fireside Gathering. Avanti's son played on one with me as well. Great machines. Everything looked great, performed great. So come out, check it out. We have all kinds of information there. You can go to our website, click on the ViForce link. It'll take you to theirs. And the guys at ViForce will be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. They'll set you up with the right rig for what you're wanting to do. We can't say enough about how great the experience is going to be dealing with the ViForce guys. So come out and see us next weekend at our tournament and stop by the ViForce booth and check out their system. You won't regret it.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. No emails or iTunes reviews this week. So, guys, we say it every week. We love to hear from you. We love interacting with the community. If you guys have any questions about the show, about Hearthstone, you just want to talk about your favorite card, shoot us an email. We'd be glad to discuss that with you on the show. If you haven't done so already, please go to iTunes and click the review button. Leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a 1-star review. Tell us what you think about Zeroshio's beard this week? We want to hear it. We love to hear from you guys. Tell us what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show. If you have an idea of something you'd like to see, let us know. Maybe we can incorporate a new segment. Always looking for ideas, guys.
And you know what? Like, we're going to talk about the Tavern Brawl tonight. It's a very unique Tavern Brawl. Seen some really creative uses of card choices in the Tavern Brawl. If you've got one that you like, send it in to us. We'll get it on Twitter. We'll get it on Facebook. You know, spread that knowledge. It's all about community and growing that community. So we can do that better when we have the right information from you guys. So, and don't be scared that you're not going to write the right things, or that you're going to sound like you don't know what you're talking about, or that your deck isn't good enough, or your idea isn't good enough. Put it out there. You'd be surprised how many people will be like, oh man, I didn't even think about that.
Absolutely.
And speaking of our website, heropowerhs.com, I posted a blog.
I know. I like reached down to see how cold the ground was.
Oh my gosh.
I posted a blog. I'm going to do these regularly. They're going to be segments I call So There I Was. And they're going to be accompanied by a screenshot of a very interesting situation. I expect to get one from this Tavern Brawl, and a story of how it happened. Now, these aren't necessarily intended on me just finding interesting stuff that happened to me or happened against me. If you have a interesting screenshot with a story on an awesome play or an awesome game that you did, go ahead and email heropowerpodcast@gmail.com with the screenshot and the description, and I'll gladly post it to my So There I Was blog that I'm going to do on a regular basis.
Yeah. All right,
It was
guys.
nice to have a week off. You guys, both Avantes and Zeroshio, posted blogs this week. I didn't feel like I needed to get one out there. It was nice.
Because I want to say one thing about you guys. You know, as a listener, I mean, you guys are awesome. The fact that you guys always respond to your listeners and, you know, you're interactive, it's so much different than a lot of the podcasts. You know, some of the other podcasts, you know, they're kind of on their own program, but you guys actually, I feel like you care about the listeners. And, you know, that's why I listen to you guys, and that's why I think you guys are amazing.
Thank you, sir. That
Thank
means
you.
a lot.
And I've said it before, we wouldn't be here without the Hearthstone community, so we're not going to be here without the Hearthstone community. We're always going to make sure the Hearthstone community is front and foremost in our thoughts and in our show. And that's kind of always been my driving force, is to make sure the community gets first dibs on anything we do, that front row. Because I want to see not our show succeed, but our Hearthstone community succeed and get out there and get known and grow.
Well, not just our show, but I mean, Hearthstone in general is a community game. You know, it's very community driven, and having, you know, everybody come together and do events like the fireside gatherings is really awesome. And, you know, I was just, you know, Versika and I have done a podcast for years prior to this, and this community by far has embraced the podcasters as a whole. You know, not just us, but everybody else that does one, and it's great. And we love that you guys, like Zeroshio said, you guys are the driving force behind why we do this. So it's a lot of fun. And Dusharmo, thank you for joining us tonight. Like I said, we're excited to have you.
And I want to give a quick shout out to our chat room. They're always great. Even with Dusharmo on the show and not in there chatting, we still have a bunch of people in there chatting. And Matt at Arms made sure to say, howdy, gentlemen, and Zeroshio. So thank you for that. I get the joke. Good job.
Yeah. Well played, sir. Well played. All right. So let's jump right into the news and discussion today. This past weekend was a Hearthstone major event. Dreamhack Austin, Texas took place, and they held the Hearthstone Grand Prix. They had 200 entrants, I do believe, and over the course of 3 days, they whittled it down to they came to the finals this past Sunday. And I have to say, of all the events I've watched, it was a lot of fun to watch this event unfold, because we had a Hearthstone regular in Chakki make it. I think he's Team Dignitas. Make it all the way into the finals. But then we had I don't know if I would say a relative unknown, but somebody who's not as well known as, say, Chakki in Terrence M, who plays for Gale Force eSports, make it all the way to the finals. And I have to tell you guys, by the time the finals rolled around, I was a hardcore Terrence fan.
Yeah.
I was a Terrence fan until he faced Chakki. I'm telling you, here's the thing: when you're looking at the finals of Terrence and Chakki, and we'll go into more detail in a minute, you think the underdog is Terrence, but poor Chakki has always been the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Right.
This is his first time, and I'm spoiling the ending here. Sorry, but first time winning a
2
major.
days. Yeah, you've had 2 days. This is not a spoiler-free podcast.
Yeah, he won his first major. He's always won second. He's always been very competitive, and like he said, the prize money was great, but I was ready to give up professional Hearthstone because I didn't think I had it. He made lots of money, but it wasn't the money. He didn't have any trophies to go with it. Yep. So Chakki took this win, and before we go more on Chakki and Terrence, this first was Dreamhack's first U.S. Event. Mm-hmm. And secondly, they ran it smoothly. They did a format that usually isn't done anymore. It's last man standing, and they did it in a Swiss format. And I heard some reservations going into it, wondering if this was going to be a good format right after a new set has come out. What are we going to see? Are certain decks going to rise? And some people said they saw a lot of the same decks. But when you got to the final 16, there were just tons of different types of decks.
Yeah. And
even with Terrence and Chakki, there were 6 different classes and 8 different decks. Even the classes they had the same classes of, they ran totally different decks for. So I love seeing this right after Whispers of the Old Gods. The meta was up on its heels, and I expected one set of decks to rise to the top, but honestly, you're still seeing people playing decks from players that were eliminated in around the 16 because they were just really good decks.
Yeah. Well, actually, about that, we actually have somebody who was there, boots on the ground, in the middle of it all. Dusharmo, why don't you give us your take on Dreamhack Austin?
Well, I went there on Saturday, and I walked in there and had a hard time finding it. Walking downtown Austin. When I walked in, I didn't know what to expect. So I walked in, and there was just a bunch of computers laying around. It was awesome. Seen a bunch of LAN computers and everything. It was really cool. And right in front of me, there was the Heroes of the Storm set, and it was like all lit up and everything. And went over there, took some pictures of the trophy and everything, and walked around the other side. And they had the Counter-Strike global offensive thing over there. That was really huge as well. And I was starting to freak out because I was like, where's Hearthstone? I didn't know where Hearthstone was. I came here for Hearthstone, and I couldn't find Hearthstone. Well, it turns out there's 2 floors to this thing. So I finally go upstairs, and there's Hearthstone off in the corner. And it really was off in the corner, and I felt a little bad. But went up there, and there was a stage and everything, and I sat down and watched a bunch of games. It was really cool. I actually saw Terrence play a few games. He went, I think he went 3-0 in the match that I saw. And it was really awesome to see it and experience it. And, the eSports community is awesome. And just going there and, feeling the electricity. And when they make a bad move, you're just like, oh, man, you feel bad for them, or, or they make the good moves. So it's really awesome. It's like a sporting event. And this is the first time I ever went to one of these things. So
that's awesome. And
it was a dream hack. That's awesome. And it was your first esports event was a dream hack. I mean, these are the people that did a tournament in a castle over in Europe.
Yeah.
They know how to put on an event.
And we're gonna actually talk about esports a little more here in just a second. But you also got to spend the weekend with some good friends of ours, Vastidius and Squishy Dragon from Legend of the Innkeeper. So you actually sent me some pictures from DreamHack, and I'm gonna post those on our website with this episode when it goes up, so people can go and check out everything from your point of view. Tell us about getting to hang out with Vastidius and Squishy from Legend of the Innkeeper.
Well, that's what I was telling you guys in the pre-show. Like, they look exactly like they do on the podcast. I went over there and I was like, that's the first thing I told them. I was like, you know what? You guys look exactly the same. So, but they were awesome. And one thing, I was talking to Vastidius and I realized like Squishy didn't say anything. And I was like, hey, Squishy, you're normally more talkative. And, she was awesome. But, they were cool. We hung out. We had some lunch together. And we watched some Hearthstone games. We watched Heroes of the Storm together, so it was cool to hang out with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was envious. I've been excited to hang out with the members of Legend of the Innkeeper, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. We'll have a sighting here in Knoxville next weekend, but we'll get to that. But that's really cool. You got to hang out with them, and that's another thing. It's just this community. Without this Hearthstone community and the podcast that you listen to, you wouldn't have a chance to meet these friends, to go to these events. And that's what I'm looking forward to when we get to the point where we can start going to live events and meeting some of our listeners, and also fanboying over some of the podcasts that we listen to and cut our teeth on before we started podcasting. I'm excited for that, and I'm excited that you were able to go and share that experience with us.
Yeah, actually, when I met Vast for the first time, I didn't tell him this, but I was a little nervous, and I actually had my baby right there on my chest with a Star Wars Tula. It was really awesome. So I told him that's the way I told him to find me. Come find me. I'm the one with the only one with the baby on his chest. So.
Nice.
And in the pictures, you'll see that. So
starting him
early.
Yeah.
Start him early.
That's right. All right. So, as we were talking about a minute ago, esports is quickly outgrowing its status as a niche industry for hardcore gamers. It's really becoming more of a global phenomenon. ESPN is carrying it on some of its channels. They actually have an entire section of their website now dedicated to esports. And in a recent industry study from an intelligence firm called Zoo, the firm researched 16 different markets around the world and found that awareness for competitive gaming has grown from 53.7% in 2015, so just over half the people knew what esports were, now to a whopping 65.7% this year. That's huge, and they're estimating that upwards of 1 billion people could know what esports is and or participate or watch esports by the end of 2016. I mean, this is huge for Hearthstone, for League of Legends, for Counter-Strike, for Dota. These are the games that are driving this worldwide phenomenon.
Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, Heroes of the Storm, absolutely.
In Europe, Heroes of the Storm has been advertising some of their esports events on the fronts of fast food restaurants. So, I mean, that's why this number's getting so big. We're so mainstream nowadays.
Taco Bell has an Overwatch special going on right now where if you buy a large drink, you get a code and you have a chance to win a pretty nice headset. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, I bought a couple of large drinks from Taco Bell just to get the code.
Right. And Dusharmo, obviously, having actually been at DreamHack, you've seen firsthand this excitement that people are generating towards esports. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on esports going forward?
Well, I'll say this: when I saw a couple of Hearthstone tournaments, they were more like chess matches to me. Now, I personally like chess, so it was awesome kind of seeing what they were thinking in their head. And one thing that I liked was, I mean, you could do this at your home, but I was thinking, what are they going to do next? And did they do the same play that I would make? And then I would be like, oh man, I did the complete wrong play, and they would go in there and destroy their opponent. So, from the Hearthstone perspective, it was a little bit more tame, but I enjoyed it. When you talk about the Heroes of the Storm, and the electricity that was in there in the audience, anytime Misha died, they chanted Misha, Misha, or when Misha barely escaped, destruction, they chanted it. So, there were two different types of experiences, and both were awesome. Both had their own different, joys to them. And so, I see it as, it looks like it's growing just from me and just from the audience and Heroes of the Storm. It was packed. I mean, there were people standing off to the side just to watch it because it was so, full of people.
Yeah, I personally am really excited. That's what I have at work. I have multiple computer stations to do my job. One of which is not attached to our network because I have to be able to test our network from outside of our network. Well, when I'm not testing, I sometimes have Twitch up in the background for background noise, and I was watching a lot of the events.
That's for bandwidth testing.
That's
right?
for bandwidth testing,
yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I was watching some of the events this last Friday, and even my boss walks by and looks over my shoulder and goes, that production value. I work for a television company, and he looks over my shoulder and goes, wow, the production value on that looks amazing. And I'm like, yeah, this is being broadcast all over the world, and these guys do a good job of producing quality content out of video games.
And I gotta say that being there, at all these events, especially, I gotta echo it again, Heroes of the Storm. I mean, the lighting was just amazing. I mean, they had all the Heroes of the Storm lighting. They had a fog machine in the background, and the lights were bouncing off that. And off to the right, you saw the casters, and they were talking, and the production looked amazing. I've never seen anything like that before live.
Yeah.
So I do have a question for you, Dusharmo.
Yes.
And to preface this, I have to tell you, I love my wife, but I have to ask you, is Frodan as gorgeous in person as he is on stream? Because that is a very attractive man.
Now, are you attracted to Frodan or Frodan's hair?
His hair. I think it's his hair.
It's the hair.
It's gotta be his hair. I'm getting lost with my wife now.
Yeah. Yeah, he was pretty good looking.
All right, see? Okay. That was
he was a good looking man. I was nervous in front of him, so.
When we warned you during the pre-show that we were going to call you out and ask you questions, I bet you didn't know that we were going to ask you such intellectually
how good looking Frodan.
hey, inquiry.
I actually took a picture of him, and it's in I sent them to you, Avanti. So
yeah,
oh, nice.
That was really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I will post those. Go ahead.
So when we're done, are we going to tweet this at Frodan or at Frodan's hair?
we may tweet it at Frodan's hair.
We got Frodan's hair, and then we got Mike Udall's hair. Who else's hair is out there?
I don't know. We'll find somebody.
Yeah. All right. So with that out of the way, this was the part that now. We didn't know we were going to actually be able to have Dusharmo on the show until yesterday, I guess. And this past weekend, he sent me an email, and he has started a Hearthstone community in the Rio Grande Valley, Texas area. So I actually, in my show notes, before even knowing we were going to have him on here, I have a shout out to Dusharmo. I also have a shout out to another guy that we have in chat, and that's Mad at Arms, who has started a Hearthstone community in the Southeast Michigan area. As you guys know, a couple weeks ago, we started a new section on our website for Hearthstone communities. So both of these guys, Dusharmo and Mad at Arms, have stepped up and taken it upon themselves to try to start a Hearthstone community in their respective areas. And for that, I applaud you guys. Congratulations. We hope to hear great things. Dusharmo, I'm excited. Have you planned your first fireside yet?
I have not. It's in its infancy, and the first thing I did was went to a game shop and found them, and they were really awesome. And let me, they're gonna let me do a fireside gathering. But I just need to find and make sure there's a big enough community to do it here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
know.
we started small. Our first
Yeah.
couple, we had like 5 or 6 people,
Yeah.
and we were bringing family members to fill out the brackets, and they were having to play through the tutorial just to
Yeah.
be
So,
able to play.
when I say it's not going to happen overnight, I mean it may take 6 months, but if you do it consistently, I think that's really the key. It's consistency. If you do it consistently and people start knowing that, hey, on this day each month I can go play Hearthstone, they'll start telling their friends and they'll tell their friends, and it'll grow. The other big tool that we found out later, because we didn't do this at first, was firesidegatherings.com. When I first started doing this, I was only advertising in my local Facebook group. And the first time I advertised on firesidegatherings.com, we had at least 8 or 10 other new people.
I was gonna say it was 19 or 21.
Yeah, we
It
had
was
8,
the first time
29 was the total number.
yeah, we had
that was the
21
second month.
yeah,
right.
yeah, that might have been the second month, but we had a ton of people come out who said they found us by clicking on the Find a Fireside Gathering button on the Battle.net launcher. That's the
Which also links to Liquid Hearth.
Yeah, that's the best place you can advertise. So
I gotta say that if anybody is interested in starting a fireside gathering, Avantes is an expert at it. And just send him an email, and he will gladly help you out.
I don't know about an
Work for
expert,
Avantes.
but
Yeah.
I've repetitively done what I shouldn't do enough times to know what I should.
That's right.
That's why we keep him around.
And also, I did write an article about starting a Hearthstone community. I think I mentioned it last week. It's on our website. It's step by step, where you need to go, what websites to use, how I learned it all over time. Like I said, I've been doing this for 1.5 years now, and it just kind of you learn as you go.
Yeah.
And so again, congratulations to both of you guys for starting communities in your area, and I can't wait, in the future to hear how well it's going. So I'm
one more
excited
thing.
for you guys.
One thing that you suggested, and it really helped out, was go around and look at the local card shops and comic book stores. And that really, I went there, and just the first one I went to, they told me, oh yeah, I know 3 or 4 Hearthstone players. They're really hardcore Hearthstone players. So,
Good.
if you're looking to start your own fireside gathering, I think that's the place to start.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, go ahead.
I was going to say, even if you think you know what you're doing, go ahead and read this blog post, because Zerosha and I have been doing it with Avantes, and I read the article, and I learned stuff. I'm just like, I didn't know you did that. It was just like, we've been doing it with him, and we're like, what? You did what?
Yeah.
What? So, it was a good read.
In Avanti's defense, he probably told you in detail exactly what he did about 3 or 4 times while you were grilling out. You just don't remember it. But
oh wow!
I will,
dig.
I will say this: when talking to shops, I personally was trying to do some fireside gatherings before I started getting up with the Knoxville group and finding out Avanti's was part of that. There will be some stores that tell you no. And not just no, but we don't want that kind of stuff in our town. Because here in my town, they're very adamant against it because there's no immediate revenue like Magic the Gathering and some other retail-based collectible card games. So you'll feel dejected and think it can't happen, but keep asking around. I mean, there's even some restaurants and bars and bar and grills that do fireside gatherings. There's the Battle and Brew down in Atlanta does fireside gatherings. And so you don't just limit yourself to card shops or game shops. Ask around. There's plenty of places. This game has so many players. Last quarter call was over 50 million registered players that have gone through the tutorial. So that tells you there are people out there that want to play this game. And they're going to be store owners. I know, shout out over at Steven over at Level Up Games. He understands there's not a huge revenue in it, but he plays Hearthstone. A lot of his clients play Hearthstone. His friends play Hearthstone. So he thought, why not? I've got a store. Let's go ahead and start having some of these fireside gatherings.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Now,
mean, there's ways to bring in revenue with it, and
Yeah.
you know, he's a good businessman. He knows what's going on too. We were lucky
Well, he's
to
figuring
actually.
it out.
Yeah, but I mean, we were
And I know
lucky enough
most
to
Hearthstone
actually get
players
to.
play Magic too.
Yeah,
So I mean,
and you know, we were
they're going to bring
we
in
were
Magic.
lucky that he was open-minded about the whole thing. So
yeah, well, I gotta say, I love Level Up's slogan. It's "Game with the good guys." So, you know, get out there, and you don't have to do it at you know, we're lucky that I feel like we're lucky that and Dusharmo, it sounds like you have found a good partner to work with. There are some great game shops that'll work with you, but like Zeroshio said, there's also some that don't want to have any part of it. And if you run into one of those, you don't necessarily have to do it at just a game shop. You can do it at a coffee shop. You can do it anywhere that's willing to let you use the space and has a decent broadband. It doesn't have to even be a great broadband, just a decent bandwidth. So
North Georgia did one in a library.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And I could tell you that, you know, I was kind of skimming through the firesidegathering.com, and there are some fireside gatherings being held at small towns. I was looking around Texas, and I was like, which one's closest to me? And I mean, if a town can do it with, you know, 10, 15,000 people, I think you're in anything bigger than that, you can definitely pull one together.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, guys, time to talk Tavern Brawl. And
Oh yeah.
this week is the first time we've seen this Tavern Brawl. You all know we love new Tavern Brawls.
yes,
This one.
This week's
Well, most of us love new Tavern Brawls, unless they're just randomness, full of randomness that Brasika's out. But
hey, I like new Tavern Brawls. I just like them to not be totally random dependent.
So this week's Tavern Brawl is called Top 2. The innkeeper is wondering which 2 cards work best together. So basically you pick 2 cards and your deck consists of 15 of those 2 cards. Now when I first read this, I misread it. I was like, oh, I picked 2 cards and then they fill out the rest of the deck with other stuff around this 2-card combo that I've selected. No, that's not how it works.
you can make that happen.
Yeah, you could, but it's 15 cards, 15 copies of each of the 2 cards that you select. There are some crazy combinations. So, Dusharmo, let's start with you. What have you found to be the most fun thing in Tavern Brawl today?
Well, I first started off with, I was thinking doing Mage, because Mage always has the awesome cards. So I picked Mage, and I did like a, I forgot the name of it. It's the 2 mana 3/2 that has spell power and gives Cthulhu a buff. I picked that one, and I did a Frostbolt, and it didn't work out very well. And I was like, okay, what else to do? And then I saw Ice Block. So I grabbed that card, and I was like, you know what? I will never die. So I grabbed Ice Block and I grabbed Fireball, and I've been undefeated ever since. No one can beat me. So all you really need is 4 to 5 Fireballs in your hand at one point, and I don't know, 3 to 4 Ice Blocks, and you win. I mean, there's really no other way around it other than fatigue. And there's one deck with Druid that can kind of do that, but if you burn them down fast enough, you don't get to fatigue.
Right.
There's no minions.
Yeah, absolutely. Zeroshio, what have you been playing in this?
First off, I have to say my favorite part of this brawl is watching the Legend of the Innkeeper Facebook group and seeing Ringo's reactions to it. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Ringo. I love when new stuff comes out. He's always the first one to let us know what type of brawl it is and whether it's good or not. And he liked it, and then he hated it, then he liked it, then he hated it. Then he said he liked it for the first part of the day, and now that everybody's tryharding, he hates it. This has been the best reaction from Ringo I've ever had out of a Tavern Brawl. It's great. I personally went Druid because I had dailies, and I saw the big male Druid that was using Cold Light Oracles and Naturalize. Well, I found that I could beat them because they're decking themselves as fast as they're decking me. So I went with Naturalize and Raven Idol. So I was able to use the Raven Idol to kind of hopefully get whatever I needed. I try to get small minions, and if they were playing one of those mage decks that had no minions, I would just naturalize my own minions. I tell you, Haunted Creeper is great for this because you get 3 targets for naturalize out of that 1/2 mana. So it just was a great value. I also, big shout out to AC, who kept me abreast on what 2 cards were being used in Tavern Brawl all day today. Thank you, bro.
Me too as well.
I think everybody's been talking to AC today, but
He's awesome too.
Oh, he's very awesome. He keyed me into a Warlock combination of Soulfire and Fist of Jaraxxus.
Wow.
Okay, so turn 1, I had the coin. So I coin out, so I have 2 mana, and I don't want to discard my coin. I go Soulfire, it discards Fist of Jaraxxus. I go Soulfire, it discards the other Fist of Jaraxxus. 16 points on turn 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
they conceded immediately. It was great.
Wow.
Right.
Well,
I'm glad I haven't run into that yet.
They actually roped all the way to the very end, threatened me, and then conceded. But
Nice. Forsica, what have you been doing in Tavern Brawl?
I went a little unconventional. I actually chose Backstab and Beneath the Grounds.
Okay.
And it's worked out really well. I've not lost yet. Come close. And actually, Dusharmo, you were kind of on the right track originally with the Frostbolt. The guy I almost lost to, he was using Flamewaker Frostbolt. And that's a pretty sick combination. I was just lucky he drew into like 6 straight ambushes. So he conceded when I had 5 Nerubians on the board.
Yeah.
Matt at Arms is talking about Upgrade and Novice Engineer. I saw that on there too, for Warrior, where you basically just have an infinite weapon that you just keep building up, and eventually you're up to like a 12, 14 weapon you're smacking face.
Yeah. One of the combinations that I've seen that seems to be like a lot of fun is Innervate, Deathwing, Dragonlord.
Wow.
You get a bunch of Innervates, you Innervate out Deathwing, he dies, all the other Deathwings from your hand come into play.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That hurts my head.
I heard of Innervate and Yasharaj too.
Yeah. Now that's another one, Innervate and Yasiraj, because at the end of turn he pulls another Yasiraj into the play.
And then they start pulling too.
Was Paladin with Noble Sacrifice and Eye for an Eye.
Yeah.
And you just build the board up with dudes, and they can't ever run into your face, and any damage they do with spells or whatnot is done to them as well. So you're always on an even playing field for when it comes to your health. Then that brings me back to why I love some of these Tavern Brawls so much. I like the ones that you can pick just any class, build a deck or one's assigned to you, and you can just have fun. You don't have to meta the brawl out. And I know some people are saying the brawl's already being meted out, but I'm also seeing people are countering that meta. So there's not really a defined deck you have to play to do well in the brawl. And I like those type of brawls.
Okay. Forsica, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I really like this brawl. I think, as you and I discussed earlier, I don't know that I've seen this much creativity in a long time as far as the cards people are choosing. And much to Zeroshio's point, I don't think that this brawl has meted out yet. In fact, I think you're seeing a really strong counter meta come against what we thought was being established as the meta, which means that tomorrow the meta is going to be completely different and counterable again. And I think you're going to see that back and forth swing is a meta, counter meta, and then a counter to the counter meta, and then a counter to the counter to the counter meta. And so,
Yeah.
So by the time it's all said and done, I think we will see, 5, 6, 7 swings, and it's all going to be fun. So
Yeah.
I like it. This is probably my favorite brawl in quite some time, just because it requires you to think. It requires you to strategize once you get in the game, but it adds that random element as in there's a whole lot of cards out there and 9 classes, and you don't know what you're going to come up against, and you have 2 cards to go up against that meta. And to me, that is enticing. Like Dusharmo, I love chess. I love watching strategy matches, and this, I think, is probably one of the best strategic tavern brawls I've seen.
Yeah, the funny thing is, it's only 2 cards.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's a lot of strategy.
What if they ever what if they let us have 3 cards?
Wow.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Now you're just breaking the meta. You know?
Well, I can say this. I gave them a 3rd card, and it completely wrecked their deck.
Somebody made the comment that on one of the forums that, or it might have been AC, because he talked to me a lot today, that this Tavern Brawl has broken Hearthstone. Because they always allow you to make a deck for the Tavern Brawls whenever you can make a deck, and now they have to change their engine so you can put 15 copies of each card in your deck.
Nice.
So, but to go back on the whole meta thing, everybody in the forums and on the Facebook group were making a big deal about this whole mill druid and how they're using the cold light oracles and the naturalize. And somebody made the comment, go rogue, play backstab and beneath the grounds. And now you was that you?
Yeah.
That completely counters that deck. You backstab all the cold light oracles, and as they draw cards, you get 4/4 Nerubians. Boom. Countered. So I mean, there is no real set. I think we're going to go all the way to Sunday, and it's going to change every couple hours.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see this one again. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And it's only the first day.
I'd like to see this one, but restricted to class cards, or you can have 2 different classes.
Or maybe just spells only, or minions only.
Spells only, or minion. Yeah, I mean, they could. The sky's the limit, and Blizzard and Team 5 have done this, where they tease us out a nice Tavern Brawl we like, and then they reiterate on it about 3 or 4 weeks down the line. So I'll look forward to see what they do with it. I will say, when some of the chalkboards were leaked about the Tavern Brawls, I saw this one where they're holding up 2 cards. I'm like, what could that be? Minions and spells? I don't understand the 2-card reference. Well, now I know, and I'm really excited about it.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about our deck for the week. As we mentioned earlier in the show, Chakki ended up winning Dreamhack, and the deck that really carried him through was his ZooLock.
Warrior deck.
Well, he did well with the Warrior. I saw him play this ZooLock deck like it was nobody's business.
I did too, and I guess I didn't chime in earlier when we were talking about it, but I watched a lot of this as well, and I loved watching Chakki show everyone that he can play a slow control deck, that he can navigate a deck that requires you to make hard decisions through the entire match. And I think he got a reputation for being that guy that plays the aggressive decks, and so I think a lot of people probably underestimated just how good he really is. And I think he got to the point where he was underestimating how good he really is by what Zeroshio was saying in the exit interview. It was like, when you go to a tournament, I think your more successful tournament people, they bring a deck that they're really good at. They bring a deck that counters the meta, and then they bring a surprise deck. I think you saw Chakki bring the ZooLock, which he's really good at playing. I then think you saw him bring the Warrior, which really that Warrior looked like a counter meta deck to me. And then I don't remember seeing him play a 3rd deck.
Yes.
His
3rd deck was
third deck was N'Zoth Paladin.
Okay, yeah,
now-
I never got to see that one play. I was in and out, but I was watching it as I was going through. So how did that work out?
Let me talk on this. Okay, I want to. Well, you say it was a zoo. You say it was his warrior. I will tell you now. I was most impressed by his paladin. Chakki brought 4 decks. Now the format was that you could ban one. So he regularly at first had his warrior banned. Well, that allowed him to play his paladin deck. His N'Zoth paladin was a good deck, and I've seen different variations of this deck. The way he piloted it was the most important thing that I watched. Now, I cut my teeth in Hearthstone off of Control Paladin. So there were a lot of plays he was making. The casters were wondering why he wasn't pulling the trigger on his heels early, why he wasn't dropping certain cards at a certain time, why he was dropping Ragnaros exactly on turn 8, where sometimes in Control you want to stall that out. Chakki was paying attention to the meta and the decks he was playing against, and you would see him between every play. He would rope almost every turn 1 because he's writing everything down, and you see him looking down a piece of paper and he's writing everything down. You would see the opponent mouse over something and then mouse away, and he would immediately start writing it down because he saw they moused over their second card twice in a row. Why did they do that? He was paying attention to all of his threats, and I think his masterful piloting of that paladin deck is what actually drove him to win this tournament. Going through the rounds, they started banning his paladin, which opened the door for his warrior deck.
Yeah.
Now,
so I must have gotten in after the paladin, because
yes,
the matches that I saw with him, the paladin was banned. So what did he bring other than the warlock, the warrior, and the paladin?
He brought priest.
N'Zoth Death Rattle Priest.
Now, this is one of the decks that a couple of his other partners had told him, don't bring priest, it's not strong. And he said, no, I'm doing it.
You know, it's funny. There was a tweet on Thursday, right as the tournament, as DreamHack was starting. He actually sends out a tweet with a photo of him and the other members of Team Dignitas with the caption, "Time to play some priest."
Yeah, and priest tended to be his closer. He would kind of find out what his opponents were playing and weed out what he thought his bad matchups were and leave that priest open. I think priest was his catch-all. He tended to open up with either warrior or paladin depending what was banned, and either his warrior or his paladin was banned, so he always opened with both. And then he would run zoo or priest second depending what his opponent was playing, but he used that priest as kind of the catch-all until he got to the later rounds, and then he realized that his matchups against Terrence favored his warlock, so he waited for warlock for last and finished strong on it. And he even said, hey guys, I don't have to play aggro.
Yep.
He said that in, I think it was the second interview.
Go ahead, Dusharmo.
You know, one thing I found really interesting about Chakki, and you guys are probably going to be like, what? One thing I think he brought to his advantage was Shaman. And you're like, he doesn't have a Shaman in his deck. Well, exactly, because everybody brought Shaman. Everybody was talking about they're going to ban Shaman because Shaman is so OP, and he didn't bring it. So people are like, okay, well, what do we ban, now? And I think Shaman really, helped him out by not bringing it and bringing him more options to play. Because I watched every deck I watched play, they banned Shaman. It was like the automatic ban.
And he even mentioned that in place of Shaman, he brought his zoo.
Right.
Because he's comfortable with it and it's his style.
And you look back, a couple of tournaments this year, you saw Amnesiac bring a very scary paladin. He got to play it once. From then on, it was banned, and he had that planned out from the beginning. He knew people didn't want to play it, so he brought it, he won with it, and from then on, he never got to play it again, but that was exactly what he had anticipated. His other 3 decks were strong. Then you look back a couple of months before that, and Tice, when he chose his decks for the tournament he was playing in, he brought decks that countered the meta.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knew he was going to be playing against meta decks. So, going up against unfamiliar decks, he struggled. But against those, he knew everyone would at least have one deck that would be somewhere in the meta, and he planned on beating that deck, and I think that's why he did so well.
And I want to touch on a point Dusharmo said. Chakki's best attribute, especially in the finals, was his shaman play. And the reason is because Terrence brought Warlock, Rogue, Warrior, and Shaman. One of his early interviews, I think it was round of 16, he stated that he brought Shaman because he knew it would be banned and would open the door for his other classes. Well, Chakki banned his Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
If you're bringing a deck that you know is going to be banned, you're not going to practice with it as much. So I believe Terrence, his weakest deck was Shaman, and that's where Chakki found his hole and was able to win with it, win against it, and ultimately ended up taking it with I believe he beat the Shaman with the Warlock suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's
a classic case of if you struggle with an opponent, whether that opponent in martial arts studies a particular martial art, whether it's in video games it's a particular class, whether it's in chess it's a particular style, the best way to learn how to beat that style or that class is to play that style or that class. You learn how they move, when they do what. So then you begin to learn to anticipate, and then you're able to build a flowing and fluid strategy against it. It's not just then based on card matchups, it's based on an understanding of what the opponent is thinking and when the right time to do what is going to happen. So that allows you to see plays that aren't necessarily telegraphed, or plays that that maybe you've not seen before because they won so quickly before. And when Avantes and I played WoW, I was huge into PvP, but I PvP'd with every single class, even though I wasn't as good at some of those classes as others. And he's shaking his head now, but how many hours did I sink into PvP and learning the classes? So when I played
all the hours we should have been questing.
So when the time came and we were putting together pre-made battleground groups, not only could I play any class and feel any class, but when we got in, I would take on the opponent that everyone was having the most trouble with because I understood what they were doing and why they were doing it. And I think that was one of the reasons why we were successful as we were as a guild too, when we went into especially open area PvP.
You're the only person I know that is gonna. We talked about this pre-show on Overwatch. Oh, I'm really bad at Genji. Let me spend 24 straight hours playing a character I know I'm not good at, so that I can be good at it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
I'm OCD about it, I guess.
Hey, Versika, me and you are like, I do the same exact thing.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's logical. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this deck. We are talking about Chakki's Zoo deck. This deck, Zoo has been around. It's not new, but this version has really come into being since Old Gods came out. Mm-hmm. This deck runs 2 Forbidden Ritual, 1 Mortal Coil, 2 Power Overwhelming, 1 Soulfire, 2 Abusive Sergeants, 2 Flame Imps, 2 Possessed Villager, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute, 2 Void Walkers, 1 Crazed Alchemist, 2 Dark Peddlers, 2 Dire Wolf Alphas, 2 Knife Jugglers, 2 Darkshire Councilmen, which we'll also talk about, 2 Imp Gang Boss, 2 Defender of Argus, 1 Gormont the Impaler, 1 Leroy Jenkins, and 1 Sea Giant. Now, Possessed Villager. Does anybody else here think it's possibly the best 1-drop in the game right now?
Yeah.
I think you could make that argument.
Yeah, he's definitely the best class 1-drop.
Dusharmo, your thoughts?
I think it's awesome. Yeah.
So if you're not familiar, Possessed Villager is a 1-mana 1/1. When it dies, it spawns a 1/1. So you have to kill it twice.
When you say it's the best, you're putting it up against Tunnel Trog and you're putting it up against Mana Worm. which
I
are both
agree.
very strong.
They're both
Class
strong
one
tempo
drops.
plays. Yeah.
But I think it fits up there. I think it belongs in that category. I don't know if you could say it's the best one drop, but it's definitely high value.
Well,
One thing I like about it is that it's sticky and it's a one drop. That's what makes it amazing.
And what you have to compare it to is Mana Worm is strong in a high spell mage deck that has low cost spells. And Tunnel Draw is good for your early game overload. This Possessed Villager can go in many different types of Warlock decks, not just Zoo. It's got that sticky presence to kind of keep that board going.
It's basically a different way of doing an Argent Squire.
Yes, that's true.
It's a different way of looking at it. It's pretty much the same thing. You have to kill it twice.
Yeah.
The big thing in here that a lot of people misplay for this deck is the one Soulfire. Chakki has one Soulfire. A lot of your Zoo players don't put the one Soulfire in here because of the card discard, because you lose that card advantage and you lose the damage. Well, he makes sure there are a lot of times that the casters were baffled why he had the Soulfire in his hand. He wasn't using it to take something out. He'd find ways to trade to take it out because he's saving that Soulfire almost like a third power overwhelming option for Leroy Jenkins. You get all that burst out of your hand. You're cutting a little short. You pop that last Soulfire to end the game. Who cares if you discard? They're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also want to talk about Darkshire Councilman.
Oh my
Now,
gosh.
this card has made, I think, may have made the biggest impact in this deck post Old Gods. Darkshire Councilman is a 3-mana 1/5 that anytime you summon a minion, it gets +1 attack.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, if not contained, can get out of control really fast when comboed with the Forbidden Ritual. Now, if you're not familiar with that one, it's a 0 mana, gain a 1 or summon a 1/1 minion for each mana spent. So, turn 3, Darkshire Councilman. Turn 4, Forbidden Ritual. Darkshire Councilman's now a 5/5. Just like that.
And importantly, you have a board that isn't the best board to swipe on turn 4.
Right.
Which in the past, with a lot of Zoo's weakness was you're leaving a board on turn 4 with your imps and your stronger minions that have 4 or less health at that turn 3 mark. Well, Darkshire Councilman has 5 health, so if they decide to swipe, they still have a 5/1 on the board that they have to find a way to deal with. And if they're on 4 mana, they're going to have to innervate or wait till next turn.
Yeah. Dusharmo, what are your thoughts on the Darkshire Councilman?
Well, one thing I found with Darkshire Councilman while playing this deck was the combo between Darkshire Councilman and Forbidden Ritual. And I'll play Darkshire Councilman on turn 3, and they're like, oh, it's a 1/5. I can kind of ignore that. And then the next turn, I Forbidden Ritual, and I get 4 1/1s, and it becomes a 5/5 now. And I can take out any minion that it dropped on 4 or anything like that. So I think there's some crazy combos in this deck. I mean, for me, the card that is the most underrated has got to be Forbidden Ritual. I mean, when I first saw this card released, I was like, I don't know. But, I mean, just the flexibility of the card is amazing.
Going back to today's Tavern Brawl real quick, Forbidden Ritual, Knife Juggler. Just going to throw that out there. Versika, what are your thoughts on Darkshire?
I see what you did there. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm going to, the knives, you throw them. Go ahead, Versika.
No, actually, I did make one minor change to the deck. I took out a Knife Juggler and put in a second Crazed Alchemist, because one of the things I think a lot of people forget is that if you swap the attack and health of a minion that has an ability that increases its attack or its health, that ability doesn't change. So if you get your 5/5 swiped and you Crazed Alchemist it the next turn, it goes back to a 1/5 that starts building attack again. And in my opinion, the Darkshire Councilman is one of the cornerstones of this deck. So as a warlock, you don't have very many tools to keep him alive. So I actually teched in the second Crazed Alchemist solely for the purpose of keeping my Darkshire Councilman alive, because few classes have the ability to do 5 points of damage in one turn.
Yeah. Now, Beam Rider in chat makes a good point about Possessed Villager. He says he thinks Possessed Villager's throwing off the meta ever so slightly, and it's working to Possessed Villager's advantage. Mana Worm, Voidwalker, Tunnel Trog all have 3 hit points, but they get countered hard by tempo plays like Fiery War Axe. However, people are really hesitant to want to waste a Fiery War Axe on a Possessed Villager. They're going to find another way to get rid of it. So it may get a couple more extra shots in before they can get rid of it. So yeah, that's a really good point.
One thing about Possessed Villager, and maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, I think it's the only card where you can power overwhelming it and it still leave a 1-drop on the board when it's done.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yep.
In the standard meta right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's really that's a good combo to clear. I know a lot of people like to use Power Overwhelming as a finisher, but Power Overwhelming on a Possessed Villager is a great way to clear a Sinjin Shield Master, or if you've got an Abomination that's keeping you from being able to lay down your stuff, you can run that in, and you may end up losing. Actually, I don't know. It depends on which one comes down first as to whether the Abomination's effect goes off before the Possessed Villager, right?
That is
Well,
correct.
Yeah.
Well, it becomes a 5/5, right? And the Abomination's a 4/4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So if it goes off, it kills the Possessed Villager and it leaves you a 1/1.
Yep.
The other big card I want to talk about in this deck that Chakki was running is a tech card, and that's Crazed Alchemist.
Yes.
We're starting to see the return of the Crazed Alchemist. There's at least a lot of the decks I've been seeing in tournaments are running at least one.
Well, and I can tell you,
it's a hard counter to Doomsayer.
Yeah, and this isn't a new thing. Crazed Alchemist has been used as a hard counter to Doomsayer for a while. The problem was the only people running Doomsayer at the time were your freeze mages. So if you found other ways to deal with freeze mage, or you didn't worry about that Doomsayer, you just didn't put Crazed Alchemist in. Well, now all of your control decks are basically having to stall the game till turn 5 before they can even do anything. So they're putting in Doomsayers to kind of slow down those aggro decks. Well, the Crazed Alchemist now has multiple different decks. Your Control Paladins run it. Your Control Priests run it. A lot of your N'Zoth decks periods run it, because even if you have Death Rattle minions on the board, you don't mind if they die from your Doomsayer, because you'll get them back at turn 10 anyways. So because of that, Crazed Alchemist has come back into the meta, because Doomsayer is now coming back into the meta.
It's also I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, another thing, and you see the rise of Shaman too, and I think, this basically kill a totem. I mean, and with all the totems on the floor, I think it helps out in that matchup too.
That was actually the point I was just getting ready to make. This is a hard counter to the Flame Tongue totem.
Yeah.
Which in today's Shaman, with Thing from Below, and some of them run. In fact, in this tournament, I think we saw the rise of Earth Elemental again. This is a great way to get to that totem without having to actually go through a massive taunt and take a ton of damage to do it.
Matt at Arms in chat says Alchemist the Tunnel Trog, and then run your Possessed Villager into it. Problem solved.
That's right.
So, all right, guys. So we're gonna actually play this deck for you like we do every week. We're gonna have Dusharmo drive for us this week as our guest. So with that, if you are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion. If you are listening via the audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPowerCast, and you can find our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers, or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you can help to support and improve it by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/heropower. And as always, we will see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Alrighty, so while we are getting set up here, Versika, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Viforce?
Well, I did our longer presentation at the beginning of the audio portion because I knew we had so much news. I just want to reiterate again, it's really hard when you're just getting into gaming or you're making that transition from a normal desktop into a gaming desktop. You've been playing on a tablet or you've been playing on a phone, and it's you want to start streaming, and it's time to make that jump. There's no better people you can have in your corner than the guys at Viforce. So again, if you're going to come to the tournament, if you're going to be in the area, come out, check out the Impulse. We're going to have it on display there. Drive it around. I think you're going to love how it works. And then, like I said, follow the link from Viforce from our website. Get online, ask questions. The guys at Viforce they're awesome. They're knowledgeable. They're going to point you in the right direction, and they want you to get what you need, and that's important. Not very many people do that anymore. They just want to make the most money off of you that they can make. These guys want you to have the best machine for what you need, and that's value. Viforce equals Value Town. There you go.
Absolutely. All right, Dusharmo, are you ready to queue up for a game?
I am ready. I'm going to queue up for ranked.
Okay.
So. All right, here we go.
All right. I'm excited to see this deck running because I've done well with it.
It's awesome.
All right.
But the meta is extremely crazy right now.
And I found out I said the word awesome a lot during this podcast.
Well, that's awesome.
I know. You're like, hey, how's this? And I said, well, that's awesome.
You
My
find
new favorite word.
You find that once you start speaking into a microphone, there's all kinds of little things you do that you didn't know you did before.
All right, so our opening hand here is Imp Gang Boss, Direwolf Alpha, and Gormok the Impaler. Dusharmo, what do you usually look for in your mulligans?
Well, I look for one drops, to be honest. I'm looking for Possessed Villager, Voidwalker, Flame Imp, so I can get something on the board. So I'm actually thinking throw this all back. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
What do you think, Versika?
Honestly, Gormok is such a powerful card, and he's 1 in 30. I would probably pitch the Imp Gang Boss and the Direwolf and keep the Gormok because I think you'll find a use for him pretty quickly.
Yeah, and actually, you're right because I can draw into one drops all game. So
yeah.
All right, let's do that.
There are a lot of one drops.
Yes, and I didn't get one. Got a word fan. All right, here comes the Direwolf back again.
So after the mulligan, we ended up with Leroy Jenkins, the Defender of Argus. We kept Gormok, and we, like Dusharmo said, we drew into the Direwolf. So
and I just noticed here the Rogue mulliganed everything back.
Good.
So
yeah.
And then we top deck Sea Giant, so it continues.
Wow. At least we know we have the one drops coming.
Think we should just hero power here?
I do. I don't think Direwolf on this board is a very good play because the chances are pretty good he's got a backstab in there.
Yeah, this is probably Miracle Rogue.
Well, here goes our one drop.
Mm-hmm.
I like this battlefield, like poking the eyes.
Oh, there you go.
You dagger it up, and that's it.
Yeah, I would drop both of those.
With,
Flame Imp and Voidwalker.
Well, what do you think? Well,
I'm thinking about Voidwalker and maybe Direwolf.
I think your Direwolf is going to get backstabbed.
Well, it'll get backstabbed, but that means he doesn't clear out the taunt.
Right, I'm thinking the Flame Imp could probably draw the backstab and you get further value out of the Direwolf.
That makes sense.
Now, one thing I found about Zoo is where to place these. That's one of the big things. You can't just throw them willy-nilly everywhere. So,
yeah,
thinking it's probably right here.
Yep, I think play it to the left. Or right works too.
whichever way, but as long as you're
Yeah.
consistent, that's the
Yes.
important part.
Yeah.
Put all your stuff, your taunts or your vulnerable stuff to the left, and then the stuff you want to taunt with Defender or Vargas together on the right.
SI7 agent.
Puts us in a bind here.
Means he doesn't have the backstab.
Yeah. We got a power overwhelming.
I don't think that's a good target for it.
No.
I don't either.
I'd almost think tap and then maybe Direwolf if we don't get anything.
Yeah.
Yes. Another power overwhelming. So
Oh,
we got a good finisher there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Leroy and 2 powers.
I put the
I think-
Direwolf on the left. Well,
Yeah.
left or right really doesn't matter at this point, but
Yeah.
and then go to face.
Yep, I agree with that play.
And especially
about you,
since
Avani?
it's- yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I already did it. I'm sorry.
No, I completely agreed with that play. So I was just telling Chad about our secret strategy of drawing all of our big stuff early, so that everything else we draw
That
we
always
can
happens
use.
to me. What is he doing here? Oh, he's gonna go.
Why?
Why do that?
Oh, he's just trying to activate the. Wow.
Oh, here we don't really have anything to play.
Well,
I
we
think
love
I
a
got,
dagger to hit that
I got a tap. I think that's the only thing we can do here.
Yeah,
right now.
I agree.
I mean, I don't see anything. We're
know there's
ZooLock.
wood
We have all
drops
these
in
one
there.
knock. I would like a mortar coil, and that didn't happen. I think that's all we got to do is play those two right there.
And hope it hits the 5-1.
Yeah. Yeah.
YOLO juggler.
Hey, look, I'll even buff it. Come on, hit it. Yes!
Excellent.
Well, the abusive sergeant directed. He said, "I want you to hit this one." This. We're not in a terrible spot right now.
No.
He is not drawing what he needs to draw.
Neither are we, so.
Well, there's
No,
an
that's
Imp Gang boss, so that's good.
I mean, I think we got to play this and tap, but we're getting low on our taps.
Yeah, we're still safe though. I'd tap first though, or we're breaking Fridge rule over at Hearth Coach.
Yes, that's
Yep.
I
true.
don't want to do that.
We got a good
Always
finisher
tap
too
first.
here. We got 14 damage, so if we can get them down 12 more.
It's true.
All right. Let's see what we get. Oh, there's our dire wolf. I guess just play the flame imp and leave one on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is terrible draw, man.
Yeah,
Terrible.
we've gotten really bad draw. But so far it looks like he has too.
Yeah, but he has a damage on the board. Here it
There's
is.
the auctioneer.
Trap, conceal. Now does he attack first? Oh no, he saps. Okay. Another prep. Wow. This ain't looking good.
I mean, I'm thinking just to save our butts, we got to Leroy into his 9-4. I mean,
That doesn't save us though.
no, it doesn't. You're right. I can. Oh, nothing's gonna save us here. This is it.
Yeah, and it's rare, but you can draw into your heavy stuff.
What about just going Imp Gang boss and Defender Vargas?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he can just take it out with his 2, 4-4 and 3-1, and then go face with his 9-4.
Yeah, there's not a combination.
I'll just do that anyway.
Yeah.
Just cause.
Yeah.
No, I'm not like you guys. I normally concede, but I'll let it play out. And
It pains me. Conceding pains me. I don't like to do it.
Yes, the appropriate move is probably concede GG Mad at Arms, but we'd like to play it out a little bit.
And of
here.
course, he's gonna BM me.
Yeah, of course.
Nope,
he
maybe
is.
not.
Oh no.
All right.
That
we
was
got
just-
the bad game out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, we drew all of our heavy cards. I mean, what else
Right.
can you do?
Yeah.
All right.
True. Very true.
I always find that that's my luck. Dusharmo luck.
Sure, my luck.
That was, I mean, that was pretty much perfect miracle, though.
Yeah.
Well, he had to dig for it because he didn't get the early backstab. But yeah, other than that, looks like turn 3 he picked it up.
Yeah.
So
I love the Dark Peddler.
yeah, so we've
Yes,
got
I'm
Forbidden
thinking
Ritual,
Dark
Dark Peddler, Power Overwhelming, and Sea Giant.
I'm almost tempted to keep Forbidden Ritual.
I would.
I would.
keep Forbidden Ritual and Dark Peddler and throw the other two back.
That's what I would do.
I mean, you have to think about it. It's like having 3 1-drops on turn 3.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's not bad.
And we could be facing a mirror here, so
Could be. Moldy Toast sounds like a zoo player to me.
Awesome. That's what I was hoping we would get the Councilman.
Yeah, that's setting us up for 3 and 4.
You know what? I would almost play the Naked Abusive here.
I was
Just to
thinking
put a
about that.
threat on the board.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
And then next turn, coin into Councilman, and then on turn
turn 3 play the
3, play the Forbidden.
Because that'll be hard on 3 mana to deal with the Councilman.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Cthulhu.
Yeah, so we're
I could
Okay.
Dire Wolf and take it out.
I think we stick to the original plan of
Yeah.
coining into Darkshire Councilman.
Only thing I can see him doing is, and I can never remember the name of the one, the Cthulhu that throws out 2 damage on 3 mana. That's still 4 damage to our Councilman.
It's Disciple of Cthulhu.
yeah,
That's
but he'd have to follow it up with a Mortal Coil before
Yeah.
he's not
He
going to
could,
take any
he
real
wouldn't because
damage.
that's 3 mana. So yeah, I like that idea. Coin out the Darkshire Councilman.
Yeah,
I guess just go face.
Yep.
absolutely. Make him clear that abusive.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a decent sized threat.
Yeah, but I mean, so now if you do the Forbidden Ritual, he'll be a 4/5.
Yep.
So he can kill the 3/4, and then
I would say go to face though.
He would trade the Beckoner of Evil into it, but
Well,
Yeah, I would say go to face.
yeah, because I mean we're not planning on going to
Right.
10 anyway, so we're
Right.
trying to get.
Yeah, exactly. We got place to be.
yeah.
We don't need to wait around for no turn 10.
And this gives us a chance for our Dire Wolf to get some damage on these 1/1s next turn.
Yeah, I mean he's got to clear that with both of his
Yep.
hands.
Or
Oh
not.
no, he didn't.
Oh,
The Hellfire.
Hellfire.
Oh, that's actually pretty smart.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna. Oh, let's see what we get. Mortal Coil would be great. I'm thinking maybe Dark Peddler. Maybe we can get a Mortal Coil.
Yeah, Dark Peddler into a Mortal Coil.
If we get that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's worth trying.
And then tap if we don't get anything else.
Yeah, I tend to like to Dark Peddler before I tap because I can get options of what
Yeah.
I'm getting.
Right.
All right, let's do it. Come on, Mortal Coil. Nope.
No, but
I'm thinking-
Worgen Infiltrator's not bad.
Yeah. I'm also thinking Soul. No, you know what? You're right.
2 Soulfires in our hand
Yeah, you're right.
aren't good late game.
Yeah, he just used his Hellfire. He's probably only running 1.
Probably.
Well, you think I should drop down the Worgen or go
I think
tap?
I would.
Yeah, I put the Worgen down.
The more we can pressure his health, the less likely he is to tap.
Yes.
Okay. I think he's gonna tap here too. There he is.
I would almost say Defender of Argus and then Soulfire the Imp Gang boss.
It put some good damage and still leaves a 1/1 on the board though.
Yeah, but his 2/1 at that point would be a 3/2, so it wouldn't kill it unless he has something else in his hand.
Right.
Well, if he had a dire wolf in his hand, he'd be able
Right, but
to take out.
it also takes him down to 16, and then he's got to worry about playing his flame imps and.
Okay, let's do that then.
And then we go to face to the 3/2, right?
Yep.
Oh, and it dropped my flame imp. That's the card.
That's
I
not bad. That's actually really good.
Yeah, that was the best option.
Yep. Outside turn 3, flame imp becomes a liability because it's easily removed at that.
That's one reason I don't. I think that's why it's not as powerful as the possessed villager. Okay.
Oh, it didn't even.
All right, so let's add up here. 4, 5, 6, 7.
We're at 11.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is what I'm counting. Oh no, yeah, you're right. 11. That only does +4. So yeah.
I think I'm putting the pressure on the board, and I'm power overwhelming the defender of Argus.
Going straight to face.
Yep.
Just
I think so.
play your whole hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, tap.
Tap.
I wouldn't tap because
Tap.
I would put out the imp and the dire wolf.
Yeah.
Well, if you tap,
And I
you
put the
could
dire
pull
wolf between.
You might pull your second power overwhelming.
Yeah.
I think we
possibility.
should. I think we should go with the clearing our hand here.
Okay.
I would agree with you.
There we go.
Yeah.
And you think I
We're
should
gonna
power
leave something on the
overwhelming?
board.
I should power overwhelming the defender, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think Beam Rider is correct. I think we may be playing against a Reno lock.
Oh, I didn't think about that because it looks so much like a Cthulhu. I guess Cthulhu and Reno kind of go hand in hand, though.
Well, if he has Reno, he has to play it right here. So
That's true. And he didn't.
Oh, defender.
but that's gonna hurt us. a
But
little bit.
now, now Leroy's the win. Well, not now. It was the win.
I got a tap.
Yeah, you gotta tap.
That's not good. I think this is probably game over. Could I play the abusive just to get
I
on the
wouldn't.
board?
Well,
If they don't, I mean, they're going to clear the Void Walker regardless. It'll
Yeah.
save you 2 points of damage at best.
yeah. And this deck doesn't have a lot of board clear. What I would love to see right now is a
This
Knife
is it.
Juggler.
Let's see what we get. That's
Power.
got a tap.
Yeah.
Tap, yeah.
Oh, that's too late for that. It's game over.
Yeah, I believe that's gonna do it.
I'm wondering if we're seeing a lot of people teching against the this type of zoo right now.
It's possible.
I mean, they just look like standard Reno handlock to me.
Oh, he's BMing hardcore.
Yeah, there's your axis.
Gotta clear all the minions. Tell us our world is doomed. Oh no, he didn't.
He did.
Tap. Just tap. What a jerk. What a jerk.
I know.
Uh,
You know what? I honestly think that that you're probably right, Versika. That's probably where we messed up. I think we should have cleared the board there with our power overwhelming.
Hey,
That's
just because I give aggro a hard time doesn't mean I don't know how to play it.
Well, I play this a little bit more controlling on the board. I try to take control of the board, and that's what's won me the games.
Yeah, see, I'm more aggressive. I go to face a little bit more.
Yeah. Let me try it my way this time and see what happens.
Play
Definitely.
control-y. So we've got Mage this time, and our opening hand is Darkshire Councilman, Power Overwhelming, and Direwolf Alpha.
I honestly would get rid of everything. Let's see if we can get a 1-drop. That's.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's try it your way.
Yep. And remember, when you're on the show and you're driving, you ultimately have the final say in what
I
happens.
know.
Yes.
You don't look like you agree with that, Versika.
No. Actually, I think that's a solid
Okay.
play. If you were getting the coin, then I would keep the councilman. That would
Ah, there we go. Yes, this
That's
is the
what we
starting
wanna
hand
see.
I want. Thinking for sure Possessed Villager first.
Yeah. So we got Possessed Villager, Dark Peddler, and Void Walker, and we want to play aggressive, so it's going to be the Villager, right?
Well, this is what I look for when I start my opening hand. I always try to go for a 1-drop.
And remember, on this show, when you're driving, we might fiddle with the radio, but you have control over the steering wheel.
Yep.
My dad used to have a saying, but I don't think I could say it.
All right, there's the Mana Worm.
Expected.
Well, it's Mortar Coil.
See, I think I would be really tempted to Dire Wolf here,
Yeah.
so you can Mortal Coil the next turn.
I'm also thinking maybe Dark Peddler.
It
Dark
does a
Peddler
similar
works
thing,
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Save the Dire Wolf for later when I can get 2 minions out of it.
Okay.
Well, that's not good.
I think
Murloc Raider, I think, is
Well,
the best.
Dragon Egg can
I like
hold
Dragon
off.
Egg better.
Yeah,
Well, that's
'cause it
true,
holds
yeah.
off arcane missiles.
True.
Remember, you're playing with defenders, so
That's true.
Mhm.
And it's a decent Power Overwhelming target.
yes.
Oh yeah.
I think I should probably just go face here with the 1/1.
Yeah.
I like
He'll ping it with the hero power.
Hopefully that's what he does. If he does, that's exactly what we're looking at.
Yep. He'll ping it with the hero power and probably run the Mana Worm into it.
Which is great for us because.
Or he could maybe coin out something.
Frostbolt.
That's okay. We
Yeah.
got the Mana Worm this turn. Dire Wolf, Mortar Coil.
Direwolf, Mortal Coil, yep.
Yeah. Play it right into our traps.
Yes.
And actually, Dragon Egg's good with the Direwolf Alpha.
Yep. It's definitely good with Knife Juggler.
Oh, yeah.
Here comes Machine Gun Harry.
Trying to think what he's gonna play here.
On 3.
I would say if he had a Flame Waker and an Arcane Missile, he'd play that right now.
Yeah, but I do think it's tempo, but I don't think he's got the combo.
Nope.
Fallen Hero.
He's gonna coin out.
Yeah.
That's
Why not
okay.
hero power?
Yep. But that's okay. I think we can Knife Juggler and drop our 2/1/1s and probably get.
I agree.
Yep.
We only need 1 to hit.
Okay, so this Dragon Egg, I should probably put it on the left side of the Shadow Beast. That way I can Defender of Argus. No, I guess it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter.
No, you're right, because that
Yeah.
way you don't defender your juggler.
Yeah.
You
Well, I'm
do
gonna
it the
do it
same way I
first.
do,
Too.
but
There
I
we go.
flip it.
Well,
There
we're gonna run the Shadow Beast into it anyway,
Mhm.
and I think I'm gonna probably put the Void Walker in between these two.
Yeah, I think that's a good play.
Buffing a Voidwalker with a defender isn't bad. Especially against mage, you're not going to have lots of minions on the board.
Well, it puts it above. He's got this turn to clear it with a Frostbolt. After that, he's got to use something bigger. Or a Roaring.
You know, and I underestimated Dragon Egg's synergy with the Knife Juggler too.
Yeah.
So I think we can probably Defender here,
I think so too.
and then just go face,
Go face with it all.
Yep.
force him to. He's not going to be able to play anything on 5.
He'll be gearing up for a blizzard.
Mm-hmm. Then Knife Juggler goes to face just like we told him to.
Yes. And next turn, we could even Defender the egg again and get a 2/4.
Yep.
No,
Nope,
he's going to play it.
kill it. But that's okay because you can always defender the
Oh.
the 1/1 or 2/1, whatever comes out of it.
I like that.
He's digging for flame strikes.
Yeah. He might get one.
Oh,
Ooh,
I was hoping it
face.
hit the 6-3. I was hoping it hit the 6-3.
I'm thinking tap first,
Okay, yeah.
and then if we don't get anything, we could defender.
If you defender the whelp, you can run it into the 6-3 and then run everything
True.
else face.
Yes. Let's tap first. See what we get. Okay. We save
I
that
think-
for next turn.
Yeah.
What?
We kind of locked ourselves into that. Yeah, I would go ahead and defender and protect that Knife Juggler for one more. It's either going to get Blizzard this turn or it's going to get Flame Strike next turn.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, the Blizzard isn't even terrible. Because we can put some other things on the board that'll be more sticky.
I know we don't have it yet, but now we're into Leroy double power overwhelming range.
How?
Okay, well now he has to get rid of it. Well, he was digging for a hard removal there.
You get that from the Ethereal Conjurer.
So now
I think
play
go-
Councilman.
No.
no. I think
no.
I think we should go defender to 2/3 to face to see if we get a
Yeah.
reaction from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Test-
that could be
test the secret.
mirror entity as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it probably is Mirror Entity.
So it'd be a Voidwalker or a Dark Peddler drop.
Yeah, I think Voidwalker, and then I could put my defender into the Voidwalker.
True.
I would almost just do Dark Peddler. He gets nothing out of that. It's just a 2/2 body.
Yeah, but he gets a 1/3 body, and I can take it out with my 3/4. And if I go a 2/2 body, it leaves him 2 more damage on the board.
Yeah, but you get to go to face then.
That's true. You're true. You're right. All right, let's do that.
And you may get a spell to
All right,
test
I'm going to take the
against.
Flame Ape because
Yeah.
we're running out of time.
Oh, well.
I should tap.
mirror.
No
Yeah.
Mirror Entity, so I would play the Council.
Oh,
Must load
That
up the
works
board
too.
here.
yeah. He's loading up the board.
One thing I found about this deck is, if he Flame Strike this right here.
So that secret's probably Ice Block.
Nope, it's probably Counterspell.
Yeah.
Either
Which is fine.
that. He could be running Effigy too. I mean, no wait. Can he run Effigy? Yeah, he could be running Effigy.
Yeah. Is Duplicate still in?
No.
That's fine.
Okay. No, he
We got
back.
Lethal. We got Lethal.
Yeah, and he misplayed that too.
Yeah. We got Lethal with Gormok, even if he
Yeah.
cleared more.
There we go.
Yeah,
All right.
Phew.
So we got our win. Excellent. All right, guys. I believe that will do it for the play portion this week. As always, we like to do a last minute. Zeroshio, what do you got for us?
Guys, we have this huge event that Level Up and Avantis, along with us, are co-running. It is the Tavern Hero Championship on May 20th, and then the Spring Prelim qualifiers on the 21st and 22nd in Knoxville. If you are in the surrounding area, there are not a lot of places to go to in the United States, especially the east side of the United States, the eastern seaboard. Come check us out. We're going to have a wonderful special guest and helper there. Espo from Legend of the Innkeeper is going to come hang out with us. He'll be there Friday and all weekend. Even if you haven't qualified for the events, we'll be running side tournaments with prizes all weekend. And most of them, if not all of them, are free to play. So come check us out. Yeah, join us. Join the community.
Yeah. All right, Versika, what do you got?
well, first of all, to answer the question that was just asked in the chat, I bragged the Light Lord is crazy hard to get rid of. I love you either waste removal on him or you get owned by him. So I think he's a great card. Probably top 5 out of the set. But yeah, guys, this event's going to be great. We're going to be running side events all weekend long. Like Zeroshio said, we've got all kinds of prizes to give out. Come down, check out the Viforce machine, check out a streaming tournament. I mean, it's we're going to be part of that event, and we've got a station set up for a feature match if we have someone that comes down that gets featured. So I mean, I think it's going to be a really, it's going to be a new experience, not only for us running it, but if you've never been to one, I think it's going to be pretty fun to come to. And I want to thank Dusharmo for coming on and driving for us tonight. Would love to have you on again, and just keep doing what you're doing, man. I enjoy watching you climb the ladder, and I know you've got a lot going on, so it encourages me to know that there's someone else out there with so much going on and still finding time to climb. So,
all right, Dusharmo.
Well, I want to thank you guys for having me on. I mean, I got to say it's an honor. This is my first podcast I've ever been on before, so you guys are the first, and I always remember the first. So,
Don't we all?
hopefully, no innuendos. None intended, but you can see But for everybody who's listening, I mean, these guys are awesome. I mean, I've watched and listened to many podcasts, and this is one of the few, if not the only podcast that I've seen where I actually feel like that they care about the listeners. I mean, these guys care about the listeners, and anytime I asked them something, they did not hesitate to help me out. And Zeratio is like the nicest guy I've ever met. Versika and Avantis will help you no matter what you need. They'll help you out. So if you love the show, support it, because you don't find shows like this very often. And just to allow me the opportunity to come on and share my experience with Dreamhack, it's just amazing. And wait for it, you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And
well, you did great. You'd never know you'd never been on a show before. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
And I'll have to find out after the show how Zeratio fooled you into thinking he's such a great guy. We'll have to discuss that afterwards. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please don't hesitate to email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Also, please hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you've not done so already, and give us a follow on Twitch so you know when we go live. Also, remember to check out our Patreon, because once we hit our first milestone, we're going to start giving back to you guys in the community. So for more details on that, check out patreon.com/heropower. And as always, guys, good gaming.
Dusharmo, checks in the mail.
1 penny.